I find it so amazing because it didn't say Peter turned away and didn't say he stopped continuing in the direction. Didn't even say he stopped moving and went backwards. He said he continued in the way, but he lost his focus and he began to focus on what was going on the outside. Can I really show you what the devil wants to do? He wants to take and create an environment so dramatically different on the outside around you than what the word was spoken to you on the inside that it causes you to lose focus because he understands that your action is connected to what you see. Your action connected to what you hear. So if God tells you you're going to be debt-free, it won't take but 2 weeks till your transmission starts to slip and the refrigerator quits working and you get some kind of bill in the mail telling you owe some kind of back taxes. Has anybody ever been there? Because the enemy knows, and you have to understand that the enemy is not after your car. He's not after your house. He's not really even after your family. He's after your faith. That's why Jesus said, I'm praying that your faith remain intact, that you can hold it together, that you don't lose the elements that comprise it. Because if you have faith, regardless what happens and what comes to you in the mail, if you have faith and continue your course, you won't sink. Why? Because we're walking up on the Word and not up on what we see. Yes. It's the Word. Somebody say it's faith. It's faith. It's faith. Those are the elements of faith. Jesus was the Word, and as long as Peter focused on the Word, he had faith to walk on the storm. But when he lost his focus on the Word, his faith was weakened and he began to sink. And Jesus made this statement to him. He said, "O ye of little faith, why did you doubt?" Somebody say doubt. I know we have no doubting Thomases in the house at all tonight. The word doubt means to question or to hesitate. Can I mess with you just a little bit more? We have faith in God, right? But many of us have a real issue in having faith in people. I just lost it all right there. Many of us have great faith in God, but we have a problem in faith in people because people have let us down, right? And we can all relate to the principle about people letting us down. But the fact of the matter is that if God said to follow a person, even if they let us down, our faith should be big enough not to be solely connected to that person and the course that they have plotted. But if God said it, we should continue to walk upon His word. We're not following according to a man. We're following according to a living God that spoke His word. And I feel like there's a breach in connection in most of the church because most of the church is so opinionated they can't follow because they have no faith in the man leading them. And I love you, I really do. I may mess up and I may let you down. I'll put that disclaimer because I am not perfect. And just like the song says, there's none righteous, no, not one. But through the process, if God told you to be here, guess what? He told me to be here. And if you have faith in me as in faith in God, we can do something. Did you know this praise team up here, they have faith in one another to know that on Tuesday nights at 6:30 they're going to be here for practice? And because they're faith in one another, guess what? Everybody shows up. Because they know when I come, there's going to be somebody else there with me. Yes. Let's make this a little more practical. Do you want to know why that we can present a need in church and the need generally doesn't get met? Because we don't have enough faith in the fact that somebody said there was a need in the first place, and through the process, there's a breach and nothing gets done. Because we can hear them and we can speak about them, but we can't act accordingly because many of us don't have faith in people. And I believe if we could ever get to the place where we were more God-like, guess what? We probably would live up to the expectations of our brothers and sisters. But how can we ever expect to do anything? How can we ever expect to have unity if we can't even trust the person we're sitting beside? So if we're talking about faith, we have to have faith, and we can't just say nice things to the people we're sitting around. We can't just hear and listen to the nice things that they say back to us. We have to have some corresponding action that proves, guess what? I want to link arms with you. It's not just about my four and no more, but I have faith in you as my brother and as my sister, as my family. And if we could ever have faith in one another, I promise you would see such a dramatic change. We wouldn't even have to invite people to church because people would just come because they would see something happening here called community and relationship that was so beyond just a religious status quo of coming to a place called church and fulfilling the guidelines, because to me it's so much more than that. And I believe that God is challenging us not just enough to about having faith in Him, but let's have some faith in one another. Is anybody with me on the same page? I really feel like God's calling us. If we could come together and have faith with one another, we could do some really amazing things. Can I tell you just a short story about some people that had faith in God but also had faith in each other? The book says in Daniel chapter 3 and 25, It tells a story of 3 Hebrew boys. They were asked to bow down to a king and worship him. And those 3 boys had so much faith in God that he would deliver them, but they also had faith in each other. They said, if you don't bow, I'm not going to bow. And because their faith in each other was so strong, they came as a package deal. And so one said, if you're not going to bow, I'm not going to bow. And it was their strength and not bowing that moved the king. Coincidentally, it moved him in a bad direction. But think about it, we can move kings if we stick together. This king becomes so frustrated because here is an entire kingdom that he's made bow down to him, but he's troubled because here's 3, not even men, but 3 boys that had enough faith to say, you know what, we're not standing alone and we can make a difference. Even if it's just 3 against the kingdom, even if it's just 3 against the world, we can make a significant difference and mess up the entire plans of an enemy. We can mess up the entire plans of a region. We can truly make a difference if we stick together. And think about it, we've got more than 3 here tonight. If we could simply get together and say, you know what, we're tired of allowing drug abuse and drug addiction and every other kind of addiction in our area to being more strong in the presence of God. We're coming together and we're not going to stop till we get God's presence so strong and people feel God's love so much that they're compelled not by their actions or feeling bad, but they're compelled because they want to be part of somebody and some group of people that has faith in them, that could believe in them, that they don't have to put a needle in their arm or snort a pill up their nose to feel complete, because they could be complete because they have other people around them that says, you know what, we're going to stick together and whatever it takes to get you through, we're going to get you through because we have faith in you, because we have faith in God. And our God said that all things are possible to them that believe. So as much as we believe in God, we believe in you. Yes. Somebody say faith. These 3 Hebrew boys, they got thrown in a fiery furnace 7 times hotter. They saw a 4th man in the fire. And it really begins to tell me about their faith, because before the furnace ever came, they said, you know what? Even if God doesn't deliver us, we're still going to trust him. Man, that's a tough place to live your life. But the essence of true faith is, you know what? If God doesn't deliver me, I'm still going to praise him. Even if I come in here with a headache and I ask God to heal me and I go home with a headache, I'm still going to say that he's worthy. Whatever, regardless of what happens on the outside that contradicts what I know God has said on the inside, I'm still going to believe what's on the inside regardless of how strong it is on the outside. And if we ever got to that place, it's called preparation. Because you begin to act out of what's in here and not what's out here. And the simple fact, it says without faith it's impossible to please God. Have you ever heard that one at all? Oh, yeah. That's a whole different subject. We'll get to it next week. We have to understand what really pleases God is our ability to trust him more than what we see. So if we begin to act out of what we hear and not out of what we see, then we would always be ahead of the game. It's called preparation. We did a wedding not too long ago, and it was at the Biltmore, and it's the biggest wedding I've ever done. It was a big, huge event. I didn't know the protocol, who to call, what to do. All I knew is they just gave me this suit, told me to put it on, and I showed up to do my little thing, and it had all these decorations and carriages and buggy. It is the most extravagant thing I've ever seen in my life. It was awesome. And we got all dressed and everything, but we had to stop and get gas on the way there. And so I'm in my suit and my white shirt and everything looks nice and my cufflinks. And I get out the gas station and there's a work truck beside me and they've got mud on their boots and everything. And then there's people coming in with shorts and T-shirts on. And I almost wanted to say, I'm dressed like this because I'm going somewhere. The problem was my appearance didn't line up with where I currently was. It lined up with where I was going. And if we could ever understand, God has called us to be prepared for where we're going and not where we're at. And people will look funny, cross-eyed at you, talk about you, alienate you, ostracize you, count you out. But in reality, we have to be prepared and have enough faith that there's a destination greater than where we are today, and it's coming tomorrow. And if we could ever prepare for what's happening tomorrow, you'll look foolish in today, but I'd rather look foolish in today and know what's going on in tomorrow than get to tomorrow and have to grasp for straws and say, God, can you please, by your grace and mercy, get me through this? And through the process, he's been speaking to me for 6 months saying, do this and do that and prepare here and do this. And is anybody hearing me at all? Here were 3 Hebrew boys, and they prepared ahead of time and said, no matter what we have to go through, we're sticking together. And it was their faith in one another In the furnace, it said they saw a fourth man in the fire that resembled the Son of God.